Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. I am Dwi Komariah, and on this video I'm gonna talk about an article that produced by Harvard Business School. And the title of the article is AirAsia. I hope you guys in a good condition so you can watch this video until the end. So let's check it out. This article is talk about AirAsia flying low cost with high hopes. And this article will divide it by 5 parts. The first one is the introduction of the AirAsia. In the early era, there is a transformation of AirAsia because in the first era there is an acquisition. AirAsia began as a struggling, debt-ridden, government-controlled airline. And in December 2001, Tony Fernandez, as the CEO of AirAsia, bought it for the symbolic price of $0.26. So, before 2001, AirAsia is the debt-ridden government. But after the Tony Fernandez acquisition, the AirAsia become more good, become better, and it will rise step by step. And after that, there is a risky bet. Despite the industry downturn after 1911, Fernandez saw an opportunity because there is an aircraft leasing costs had dropped and experienced staff were available due to layoffs. Because of the 9/11 tragedy, this aircraft industry become dropped and the experienced staff were available due to layoffs. So many staff that work in the aircraft industry has become laid off because of the 9/11 tragedy. So this one is an opportunity. Then Fernandez saw it as opportunity, so he can put any chance to change the AirAsia company. Next, there is a relaunch of the AirAsia. Tommy Fernandez restructured it into Asia's first no-frills, low-cost carrier, achieving a profit of $6 million within just 7 months of its January 2002 of relaunch. So, because of the previous condition, because of so many experienced staff that laid off before, so after that, Tommy Fernandez relaunched the AirAsia, and because of the no-frills low cost, because of no-frills and low cost program, so this program just achieving a profit of $6 million within just 7 months after the relaunch in January 2002. And then because of this so many change of program and achieving profits, so AirAsia has core business model. It is low cost, no frills. The low cost, no frills has pricing philosophy. You know that so many airlines company that exist in the world, but especially for AirAsia, they have pricing philosophy. Under the tagline "Now everyone can fly," AirAsia's fares were 40 until 60% lower than competitors. So sometimes even cheaper than a bus ticket. So because of the cheap tickets of airplane, so the passenger or people in the world will choose the AirAsia. And this one make everyone to choose the AirAsia to go anywhere around the world. And then there is cost saving strategies. Despite of the pricing philosophy, AirAsia has cost saving strategies. The first one is single cabin. AirAsia using a standard class cabin with no in-flight entertainment or free meals. This program is food sold on board. If you ride a train, KAI, we only buy the ticket to ride the train, but we don't buy the meals before. So this one is similar to single cabin program that AirAsia have. And after that, there is operational efficiency. AirAsia achieves high aircraft utilization with quick turnaround times and focusing on secondary airports to avoid high slotting fees. So this one make the operational fee is lower than any other airplane company in the world. After that, there is a fleet strategy. Transitioning to a full efficient fleet of Airbus A320s to lower fuel and maintenance costs. This one is a good strategy because there is switch of the transportation model of airplane because there is a transitioning to a full efficient fleet of Airbus A320s to lower fuel and maintenance costs. Because of this strategy, AirAsia has the lower cost for maintenance and to buy the fuel. After that, there is a regional expansion and diversification. AirAsia has the joint ventures. Do you know joint ventures? It is like working team or work partner. So AirAsia has the joint ventures to enter the foreign market. So this one, AirAsia form Thai AirAsia and Indonesia AirAsia. So for your information, I have a friend that work in AirAsia. He is a flight attendant. And I think the way he entered the AirAsia flight attendant is a good journey because I always look at his social media and he share it every day. Because of the joint ventures, the AirAsia spread so big and become the big company. There is also AirAsia X. This one launched in 2007 for long-haul flights over 4 hours, partnering with Sir Richard Branson. So I think before the AirAsia X, AirAsia only flight under the 4 hours flights, because on this program the AirAsia X is a long haul flights over 4 hours flight. And there is a value chain expansion. This one, I think, a good strategy from AirAsia, because the company evolved into an integrated service provider offering travel insurance, hotel bookings, car rentals, and a co-branded Citibank AirAsia credit card. This strategy is a good strategy because not only serve the airplane transportation, AirAsia also expand their strategy to maintain the service provider for passenger, and after that they serve the offering travel insurance, hotel bookings, and car rentals. So the passenger will easily to go anywhere after they arrive at the airport. So this is the good strategy from AirAsia, and I appreciate it. Next, there is a marketing, leadership, and branding. So I think Tony Fernandez as the CEO is the brand itself, because he is the walking advertisement. Because the Tony Fernandez wears the company's red cap and t-shirt to official functions and even gives his mobile number to the media for transparency. I think no one as a leader of the company will give their number to media for transparency. I think only the CEO of AirAsia that will give his mobile number to the media for transparency. So this is a good advertisement for a big company, because it will raise the trust of passengers. Next, there is a cheeky marketing, known for provocative ads, such as one in 2004. There is a Singapore Go from Singapore Airlines, that this one is provocative ads, and actually these ads raise the attention from people in the world. And there is a high profile sponsorships. To build a global image of high quality, AirAsia sponsored Manchester United and the Williams Formula One team. This is a big achievement, I think, because AirAsia became the sponsor of Manchester United, a famous football club in the world, and also become the sponsor for Formula One team. You know that the Formula One is the biggest because the Formula One is the biggest team of car in the world. Last, there is a competition and challenge. Don't you think that AirAsia is success and there is no competition and challenge? Because AirAsia face many competition and challenge. Price wars with MAS in 2008. MAS is Malaysia Airlines because Malaysia Airlines also launched an everyday low fare. And they campaigned with 1 million free seats. AirAsia retaliated with its own Sub-Zero Fare campaign. This one is the price wars with MAS or MES. Next, there is route rationalization in 2006. AirAsia took over 2/3 of MES loss-making domestic routes, making it Malaysia's largest domestic carrier. And there is also economic pressure. Managing volatile fuel costs through dynamic hedging and staff-driven efficiency initiatives that reduce fuel consumption by nearly 20%. So, after I read the article, I know that the fall of AirAsia, and then there is an acquisition, and after that there is a relaunch of the company, and there is a restructure of the staff, and after that AirAsia achieved so many profits because of their strategies, and also they have the competitors and challenging moment to gain passengers trust. So I think it's enough from me. I hope you can understand what am I saying. So goodbye. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.